Hi guys, my name is Lydia and welcome back to the Louise Creative channel. So I'm going to be showing on how I made this classy wrap top with a cape around its neck and also with a puff sleeve. You can tuck this top into your trouser or you can fly it out of your trouser. Either way, you still be looking so smart. Please, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the notification bell icon to be notified of my new video. Like and leave your comment at the comment section. So if you have any outfit that you want me to produce in my next video, please leave it at the comment section. Like my video and also share to someone who you think might need this video. I'm going to be leaving the link of how I made the palazzo pant I'm rocking at the description box. So let's get started. Already I have marked my shoulder. From my shoulder I'll be marking out 7.5 inch. That will be the armhole line. Then I'm marking out 10.5 inch. I'm marking out an 16 inch, and I'm marking out 22 inch. My shoulder is 15. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5, plus half inch is 8. So I marked 8. My bust is 36. Divide by 2 is 9. Then plus 1.5 inch sewing allowance, 10.5. I marked 10.5. My waist is 30. 30 divided by 4 is 7.5. Then 7.5 plus 1.5 inches allowance, that's 9 for my waist. And then for my waist at the hip level is 34. That's where my blouse length is stopping. That's 34 divided by 4 is 8.5. Then plus 1.5 inches allowance is 10. So I marked out 10. So I'm going to connect my lines. I'm coming here to also mark out, that's the same measurement at the shoulder, which is 16. The reason is so I can know the right places to trace out. So I will now use my ruler to connect the lines like this, and then this one meets up with it. Then I'll go by 1 inch to mark it like this, the connection. So when I'm done with that, I come here to mark out 2.5 inch. Guys, I came here and I marked down half inch down like this. So I'm going to connect this point to this point on the shoulder. I'm slanting the shoulder. I will come here from this point and I'll measure where I want the depth of my neck to be. For me, I want 7, so that by the time I finish sewing it, it could actually come down. And because I'm sewing a very light material, I wouldn't like to go so low with my neck, because if I go so low with my neck, the fabric will help it go down low more. So because I'm using a light material, I'm going to stick to 7. When I'm done marking here, I go ahead to cut. I'm now going to open this paper like this, and then I will now connect these two lines. Can go ahead to extend my lines so that what we are doing will be so clear. So when I connect this to this point, I'll come down with it like this. This is like dividing the bust and the waist. I think it's on the center of the bust and the waist. I'm going ahead to cut it. So I'm going to use this pattern to cut the other side of the front. So the other part of the front is going to have a rope attached to it. I don't want to sew the rope into the cloth. No, I want the rope to be together. So I'm going to come in like this. I'm and I'm going down with it like this. This is the rope. So it's not like I'm going to cut out this part. So this one is coming like this. When I'm done with it, I'll go ahead to cut. In order to cut I'm going to be folding this in order to cut my, so now I'm going to just mark all the points onto the second pattern so that everything will be clear to us. This is how it's going to look like. So this one will be tied onto another rope that is going to be attached by the side here. So now after I'm done cutting the front pattern, I'll go ahead to cut the back. So for the back, I place the tape and measure 9, the bust for the back, and also measure 17. But I'm not going to stop at 17. I'm going to go down because since it's a wrap, so while I'm wrapping, it takes more extra fabric. So I'm going to leave it at 19. So when I'm done with that, I'm going to mark and I insert my measurement. For the bust is 36 plus my 1.5 inches allowance. And for the waist is 30 plus my 1.5 inches allowance, which is 9. So I go ahead to connect this line. My shoulder is 16 and I come down here to mark 16 to get a straight line. That's to mark 8 to get a straight line. And then in the front it was 7.5. So I'm going to connect the lines to this point and then take it here and down. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inch, 1 inch like I did to the front, and I'm going to connect it like this. Now I'm going to go ahead to cut. I'm not so bothered adding a dart to this top I'm making because it's wrap. So wraps they don't need that because while you're tying it, you're forming that already. You're forming the shape for the cloth. So here I'm going to measure 2.5 just like I did to the front, and also measure 1/2 inch down. I'm going to connect this point to this upper point here. I had to connect this one to slant the shoulder. I now marked 1 inch down from up here. I mark 1 inch down and I now go ahead to connect. So I now bring my front pattern to place on the back pattern to check for modification. If there's any modification, I do it before cutting out, before using it to cut out my fabric. Don't forget that my added sewing allowance to this is 1.5. So here, this is 1.5 here. So by the time I sew 1.5 like this, as you can see here, the front pattern is longer than the back pattern. So here, the fabric, the paper is transparent, so you can see it from here. I'm going to cut it this way to about 1.5 inch. So when I'm sewing, when I sew it up to here, I will now fold this one in like this. So this part now, I could tuck it into my trouser and I could fly it out of my trouser. And for the other pattern, I will now take off this one. So for this pattern, it has a rope. So it is the one that will stay on top. The front pattern is longer than the back pattern. What I'm going to do now, I'm not going to do it the way I did the other one. I'm going to slant this one like this to about 1.5 inch. since 1.5 inch is my seam allowance. Like this. I'm going to mark my 1.5 inch, and then I'm going to bring it, cut it straight like this. I'm showing you how to cut it with my marker. I'm going to cut it straight like this. When I cut it straight like this, the next thing is I'm then going to start slanting it like this. Then I'll now cut it. If you find this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up and also don't forget to subscribe. In my next tutorials, I'll be uploading a video of the sewing of this top. See you.